O'clock. We have a quorum. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Got my little flag here. Okay. Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States,
of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can we get a roll call?
Okay. Chair Hunter Chang.
Here.
Vice Chair Jeff Buzzell.
Present.
Commissioner Eugene Ramirez.
Present.
Commissioner Albo.
Here.
Commissioner Victoria Firestone. Here. And alternate Zilla Tobiano.
I think you're on mute.
Zilla?
On your screen, you probably have to unmute yourself. There you go. Oh.
I actually think she's unmuted, but we can't.
Yeah. Shows she's unmuted. Oh.
How's this now?
Earbuds.
There you go.
Okay, something wrong with the headset. Sorry about that. Here.
We have a quorum.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, the agenda's been posted. Any written communications have been distributed. At this point, do we have any members from the public that would like to have any public comments that regarding an agenda or an item that's not on the agenda? I don't see anybody from the public here.
No one from the public. I don't have any emails and there's nothing in the chat.
Okay. We'll move on. Commissioner reports. Any members of the commission attend any meetings or conferences? Nope. Okay. All right. Moving on to administrative business. Introduction of new commission members. So we have two new members. We have Victoria Firestone, who's been appointed a regular member. And we have alternate Zilla Tobiano. So Victoria, you want to just briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. I am a resident of San Marino. I live in off of Oak Knoll, and I'm excited to be here. My history is in banking world and also tech, and I've lived in San Marino for about 5 years, and I look forward to being part of this committee.
Well, thank you. Welcome. And our alternate, Zilla Tobiano, did I pronounce that right?
Yes, and you're reading it right.
Okay. Just to briefly introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Zilla Tobiano, and I live in 1610 Las Flores. And we've been, my husband's been here since childhood, and we moved here to another location within San Marino about 8 years ago. And profession is I'm in the technology, but more on engineering on my husband's side. And I used to do mortgage banking. So I'm excited to be here with you all.
Well, welcome. So as alternate, you will, of course, you'll be sitting in all our meetings, but as alternate, if one of the regular members is not present, then you'll be one of the voting members. Okay, welcome. And moving on, department reports, Chief Encontro with Police Department.
Good evening, Commissioners. Commissioners Firestone and Tobiano, thank you very much for participating in the commission, and we look forward to your involvement. As I know, Chief Rueda and if Michael Throne was here, the Director of Public Works, would all extend to you both an opportunity to come to the station. We'll get you masked up, gloved up, and if you want to wear a gown, we got them. But we'd love to show you around the station, take you on a ride along, have you sit with our dispatchers to get a better understanding. of what we do, and we will make sure that we provide you with a good brief of the organization and our challenges that we have, along with some of the great things that the officers are doing. But thank you all very much for your involvement. With that, you've read the report. We're continuing to have the same issues as we have in the past several months since COVID began, and that is thefts. And the three areas that the thefts are: gardening equipment, thefts of packages, and then thefts from vehicle. And the thefts from vehicle are either unlocked cars, where people are putting items of value, leaving them in plain sight, or even locking their car, but they're parked in a certain area where they can be broken into without anyone seeing them. The two areas in the city that are more common than others are the Huntington Library. And we've been talking to the new director of security, who also is one of their VPs, I believe, about different things that can be done. One, since you're both knowledgeable with tech areas, we've brought in 22 flock safety cameras, and we have them in place. And these cameras are a startup company in Buckhead, Georgia, outside of Atlanta. And they have been very helpful. We've been able to make several arrests directly related to what the cameras and license plate cameras, and they've been invaluable to us, and they continue to do so. They've also helped us. We've talked to the Huntington Library about utilizing flock safety for their parking lot. It's a much less expensive, less intrusive, and less demanding of the facility as far as digging trench lines, power lines, and all those kind of things. They're solar powered, and they can be mounted on existing poles. The other area is Lacey Park, primarily the Thornton room, or Thornton building, Thornton room parking area. It's kind of isolated. Public health or Public Works has helped us trim back some of the plants. We've placed signage, and we also have a flock safety camera that looks at vehicles. And these cameras are placed in an area where they can focus on the license plates, not people. So we want to make sure that we're maintaining privacy rights and things like that. For the gardening issue, we've started a program, Safer and Back. We've been trying to tell the community that please allow your gardeners to park in the driveways as far back as possible. We've also worked with community development and the planning side of it, where when gardeners apply for business licenses or a new business in town, they're given a handout that talks about being safe, locking up their equipment, being aware of their circumstances and surroundings. And we've also been handing out that same flyer to gardeners on a regular basis throughout the city as the officers come in contact with them. And with the thefts from vehicles, we've also been talking to the community, putting out information. And one thing we're working on right now with the package thefts, been talking to Amazon, and they have selected the San Marino Center to place one of their lockers. We need to work out some issues with the contract. Also, there's issues of if we move forward with the renovation of the San Marino Center, am I going to be able to maintain these lockers for a year? Is there a secondary site? And one of them is next to the library that we may utilize. So that's moving forward. It's moving faster than I had expected from Amazon, but they're more than willing and been very helpful. So we're actually doing a lot of proactive things, trying to improve the issue of thefts in the city. Personnel update, a brand new officer, Leroy Avington, started last week. He is a former police officer from Pasadena City College. And he's starting his training, did not need to go through the academy. Lots of experience. We're looking forward to seeing him grow as he trains here. And then we provided a conditional job offer to a candidate who is closely associated with the department. I'm not allowed to say too much, but she is closely associated with the department. And once she finishes the requisite medical and psychological exam, then she'll be starting the academy in November. And we will be hiring her about 6 weeks before the start date so we can properly assist her in training and preparing for the academy. It's a very arduous 6 months. And we also have 2 people, one person from LA Unified School District and two people from LA Unified who are going through different phases of hiring, and that will easily put us at the 30 member level, and which will help us. And one of the other things I wanted to briefly mention is there's a lot of pending legislation recently, and some of the things that would have had a significant impact on policing did not pass, although we are working with the chiefs in California and Los Angeles County in particular are working with our legislatures to have some meaningful legislation, especially on the decertification of police officers who commit misconduct or commit crimes. That none of us want those folks being police officers at another department. So we're working very closely with them. And then next week, I'm going to have next month, I'm going to have a presentation for you on the new federal uniform crime reporting. Right now, we're under a uniform crime reporting about how we identify crime, how we provide information to you, how we come up with our statistics. And the new program, which will be starting end of next year, will be a program called NIBRS, which is a National Incident-Based Reporting System. Angelica Gonzalez, my records manager, will be providing the presentation. And what NIBRS does, it provides much more in-depth information. And it connects relationships between a suspect, the type of crime, and a location, along with time and more specific information. For one thing, if I was to use uniform crime reporting, and because we're having thefts of vehicles in parking lots, all I can get is information on parking lots. With NIBRS, I can tell if it was a school parking lot, a church parking lot, a park parking lot, or some specific type of business. And we're really looking forward to that. And she'll be able to explain to you how the relationship works, and also that you may see a change in the number of crimes. It may appear as if we have more crimes, but the information is much more detailed, provides a better analysis of the crime and a better understanding of crime nationally, not just locally. So we're looking forward to that. With that, if anyone has, let me talk briefly about traffic. We have had an increase in traffic, an overall decrease in traffic collisions by 25%. Hit and runs have decreased by 48%, which is very nice. And but we have had a significant increase of bicycle-related traffic collisions. Those bicycle-related traffic collisions are interesting because most of them are caused by the bicyclist rather than the vehicle hitting or striking a bicycle. We have seen a lot of increase in people riding their bikes, a lot of middle school kids in particular not wearing helmets. And we do a lot of education with the teenagers in town about wearing helmets. Most of our violations so far this past 2 months are turning violations and unsafe speed. We're anticipating that our new motor officer program will start in about 3 months, and they will be focusing on traffic issues along with investigating crime, or rather traffic collisions. And the other thing they'll be doing is working a lot with the community in regards to complaints of traffic problems. If there is a traffic complaint problems of people not stopping at the corner of Wilson and El Molino. We will work with the resident and we will work in the area and try and resolve it. And also if there's a neighborhood watch group, we'll work with them on the traffic problem. And that's what the 2 traffic officers will be focusing on. So we'll be incorporating education, enforcement, and also community relations or neighborhood watch as part of our traffic enforcement. And it'll also include programs with the schools. As the schools get closer to opening, that will be one of the additional things. So it's a different type of enforcement, a different type of plan for reduction. It's more holistic rather than straight writing people tickets. So if anyone has any questions, I'm available.
I think Hunter and I would disagree. It's never the bicyclist's fault. It's all the road raging cars that are mad at us, right, Hunter?
That's right. I'd like to welcome the mayor, Mayor Gretchen Shepherd-Rami. Thank you.
Well, I like to think that too, but every now and then a bicyclist is looking at their phone or not paying attention.
John, is that uptick, the recent uptick in traffic, is that a 30-day look back?
This is actually 60 days. We normally do a 30-day look back for this report, but because we did not have a meeting, or we didn't have statistics for the last meeting, we're doing a 60-day. And normally we should be able to do a 30-day.
I was just wondering. Thank you.
Oh, that's good. No, thank you.
Okay, no other, oh, go ahead.
Commissioner Bogue.
Yeah, just a quick question. I noticed that in your report, you indicated you had a position open for a dispatcher. I know how critical that is. Are you making any progress there?
We have had quite a bit of difficulty. We've had the position open for about a year. We've had people not make it through backgrounds primarily. And this position will allow us to have one of our other dispatchers, more tenured dispatchers, also work in records to assist with all the demands that our records manager has to deal with and fill in on the time when dispatchers are on vacation or they call in sick. So it's kind of a utility player position, but it's been very difficult. We still have, I think we have a written coming up, or we just had a written for dispatcher. It's a tough job, it really is. And that's a job where, they're doing at least 4 things all the time. Talking on the radio, talking on the phone, answering 911 calls, business calls, and handling traffic at the front desk. So it is a very demanding position.
Any other questions for Chief Incontro?
Chief Incontro, at one of our prior meetings, you gave us an update on the status of the purchase of new cruisers. And I think you were mentioning that they were going to be all black with some additional decals to identify them as police. In speaking with some of the local residents, there was some concern or questions raised about whether or not an all black car would be identifiable enough as a police officer to give people comfort that they're being pulled over, for instance, by a police officer as opposed to somebody who's pretending to be a police officer. Is there going to be any effort to educate the public through the newspaper or whatever of the change in the look of the police cars, even if it's just an announcement that says we're excited to get our new cars and they'll be all black, look out for this new look, something that will at least give the locals some comfort that all black police cars are actually real police cars?
Absolutely. The cars will still have the lights on top. They will have graphics that say San Marino Police in large letters that run across all 4 of the doors. So before, we only have a graphic that's small in nature that's on one door. You can see that behind Commander Blondet off his left shoulder. And he's holding up a picture.
I see that. Hold that up again.
they'll be very identifiable. We'll be putting out information before they even hit the streets. We've unfortunately have a delay. Ford has had a problem with not only their own factories, but their suppliers because of COVID. And also with the number of police cars that have been destroyed over the past several months, there's been a greater demand to replace them. So we are looking at maybe 2-3 months down the road before we are able to have them delivered and then outfitted with the lighting and also the decals. But we'll definitely be putting out photos of them. We'll be working with a newspaper. We'll have the new ones on our website, and we'll do a nixle and everything else. So they're definitely identifiable as a police vehicle. It's just instead of spending $1,000 on painting the 4 doors, I'm saving money by putting on decals for 4 doors, and saving about $600 per vehicle.
Can I impose on Commander Blondet to hold that up again? Because I only saw the end of it. I want to see that picture again.
Yeah, it's an exemplar.
Okay.
I don't know if it's gonna-
Hold it in. Yeah. Oh, there.
Oh,
Okay.
Hmm.
see.
That's not ours, but that's what something like what it'll look like.
Something like that, yes.
The mock-up, yeah.
Thank you both.
You're welcome.
Chief,
Yes.
did you said they'd be delayed a little bit? I didn't quite hear when they're going to arrive.
We are hoping for 3 months from now.
First of the year?
Yeah, yes, sir. It looks that way because of COVID.
Yeah.
Closures for some of the factories and suppliers. And once they're delivered to us, they go to a company that puts in the radios, the lighting systems, does the decals, does all of the other work, the push bars in front, and other equipment that we have to have in the cars.
Mhm. Good. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
May I just ask one other question? This
Yes.
is off subject, but how's your home, Chief?
Uh,
It's okay?
We believe there's going to be a mandatory evacuation about 4 blocks from where we live.
Hmm.
That's either going to come tonight or early in the morning. So,
So far, though, it's not you.
no. And I'll send my family out to West LA where my in-laws live, and I'll camp out in my office. I'll be good to go.
Okay. Well, we're thinking about you.
Thank you,
Yep.
sir.
Stay safe. Okay, any other questions for Chief? Okay, seeing none, can I get a motion to accept and file the police report?
So move.
Second.
Okay, Al and Jeff, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? All right, moving on to fire department, Chief Rueda.
Good evening, commissioners, and welcome to our new commissioners, Commissioner Firestone, Tobiano. Welcome. We'll have to give you provide the same offer as Chief Encontro to come to the fire station. We are still technically closed, but if we distance and use masks, I think we could provide an orientation, at least give you an understanding of how the fire department works, because I do think quite often it's a mystery to people how fire organizations run, and it might prove helpful to provide you with that orientation. So a little bit about this month's report. You've read the written report, but I just wanted to comment on a couple of items. One of them being the response to the coronavirus. So the fire department serves as the emergency management department oversight in the city. Our city manager serves as the emergency services director, and we in San Marino have been in a proclaimed disaster since March 17th, and we remain in that status. Federal government has extended that presidential declaration of COVID disaster out to the end of October. So we remain in that situation that gives certain authorities to the city manager. And it also provides a path for reimbursement for some of the expenses that we've executed to make sure employees and residents are safe. But I did want to, while I hear much about the ups and downs of the coronavirus numbers and the various theories about getting better, is it not? But I just wanted to share a few select data points. So on August 3rd, just in our city, we had 54 cases. And by September 2nd, that number of cases had risen to 71. So just in 1 month, we saw a 44% increase in our city alone. Today, we sit at 85 cases and 2 deaths in our city. We still are, the fire department is still responding, not as frequently as early on to people with COVID-like symptoms. But all this to say, it has certainly not gone away. And I know the police department and the fire department are really being careful with taking precautions and making sure we're keeping our employees safe, as is the city manager, making sure our protocols are up to date and trying to make our city as safe as possible for not only employees, but for the residents we interact with also. So that just a touch on our coronavirus response. And our EOC remains open at the lowest level, level 3, and it has been since March also. It primarily serves to support the resident support hotline, which is, out of all the things we did, I think is probably impacted the most residents. People without another lifeline are able to call into the city and really just about get anything they need. If the fire department can't do it, police department will try to take care of it, or public works, or we'll figure out a way or find somebody that can meet the needs of our residents. You also saw in this month's report the number of deployments that we've had, sending both individuals as fire line paramedics to various fires across the state. And currently, Engine 91 is assigned to the Bobcat fire and has been for 6 days. And they've been, our mayor pointed out that she saw them on the news, protecting structures in Monrovia, shared with me the news link. And today they're in Sierra Madre as the fire sort of continues to chew westerly. So that is something that we've seen here, large fires. Well, not uncommon at this time of year. The numbers of large fires that we're seeing are unprecedented. And our fire season, our traditional fire season, really hasn't even started yet, because we usually don't know till October just how bad a fire season is going to be when the Santa Ana wind condition starts. But this year, I think we've seen just how bad it can be and is very early. I've provided the rest of the performance metrics, and the performance report that we provide to the council and the commission and to the public each month sort of serves as a temperature gauge for me to see how the performance of the fire department is month to month and year to year, and see if we're meeting our goals, number one, and if something in the system is changing that allows me to potentially make adjustments. But for the new commissioners, when I get the opportunity, I'd like to share with you how we develop these, where they come from, and why they're important for a fire department. That concludes my report for this month. Do you have any questions? Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Any questions for Chief Ureta before we move on? Okay.
Chair,
Oh, yes, go ahead, Al.
I apologize. Chief Areta, I noticed that you, in your comments that Engine 91 is assigned. Does that mean it's physically out of our city? And if so, how are you dealing with that?
So, yes, Engine 91 is physically in Sierra Madre tonight. We do have a reserve engine, and it's last year when the council was gracious enough to support us with a new fire engine. One of the rationale for replacement is we're replacing the reserve engine, which at that point was 20 years old. So today we have a new engine that's actually in Sierra Madre tonight, and a 10-year-old engine that we keep here in the fire station, and it is staffed with personnel that so we keep continuity of service in our city.
Thank you.
It's actually parked in front of my house.
Might be.
Total coincidence.
Is anybody baking cookies for the firemen?
Of course.
Okay. See no other questions? Can I get a motion?
You can
Oh.
file the report.
Okay, Jeff. Second? Al?
Okay.
Jeff and Al receive and file. Okay. All right, moving on. Parks and Rec, Director Throne is not here today. And you have his report in the agenda packet. Does anyone have any questions about Director Throne's report? Seeing no questions, can I get a motion to receive and file Director Throne's report?
So
I'll make
moved.
Okay,
I'll
Al.
second.
Al and Jean, okay. Okay, before we move on to new business, I just wanted to go back again to the how we're organized. We have the three major departments: police, fire, and public works. And within that, we've formed little subcommittees amongst the commission members, with 2 members assigned to each department. And for the new members, Victoria, you can join Jean Works Department, and Zilla, you can join Al on the fire department. Okay, so we'll start with that. Okay, moving on to new business. Approval of minutes. Has everyone reviewed the minutes from the last meeting? Any comments? Jean?
I'll move that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. Moving on, request for exemption of the format of the Public Safety Commission minutes. So in the packet, there's a memo. Has everyone been able to review that? Chief and Contra, would you like to talk to this?
Yes, sir. Chair and Commission, there was a request at the last agenda meeting that staff look at the idea of changing the format of minutes from action minutes, which we do now, and then changing it to summary minutes. Action minutes do not include presentations and discussions. And then with summary meetings, it includes information in action minutes plus a summary of points discussed along with individual comments. And then there's also a verbatim minutes, which is a word for word transcript. Both Jennifer McGee and Vanessa Alvarez are sharing the duties on doing minutes. It's estimated that it takes approximately 10 hours of time to go through the minutes, listen to them, and complete them and publish them. If we were to change to a summary meeting minutes, then it would take probably twice that amount of time. This issue has come before the Library Commission, and in the Library Commission, they opted to have one of the commissioners do the minutes, but the responsibility of staff is to take minutes. And not only do we take minutes and complete them, place them online, but we also make sure that we place the audio minutes online. So the audio minutes contain a complete recording of the meeting. If people are looking for more in-depth information, they can be made available by anyone as they go to the website and listen to the audio minutes. Our preference, our recommendation is that we stay with action minutes, but this is your commission, and if you so choose, then we will take the appropriate action, which would be making a request to the City Council that several years ago accepted action minutes for all commissions and boards. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Chief. So the issue before us is whether we continue with the action minutes format or we change to the summary minutes format, which provides more details and also encourages more staff effort or labor, if you will. I'm going to open this up to the commissioners. What do you think? Stay, or should we move to a different format?
Well, the action minutes are going to save time for staff. They're better. I think we better use them to handle all the various calls and other duties they already have. We don't need to burden them with more administrative tasks. So if I personally believe if it's easier for everybody to go to the action minutes, then I'm in favor of that.
Go ahead, Al. Yes, Al.
Well, I'm the one that's responsible for the request. And the reason that I asked that the subject be considered has to do with the historic difficulty that we have had in communicating with the City Council. We've had a situation since the commission was created in which, since we are advisory rather than a commission that can actually take actions, we've had difficulty in communicating anything more than a recommendation. We've been unable to communicate effectively the reasons for our recommendations and the support either for or against the recommendations from the public. Our primary function has been to serve as a conduit for the public to reach the council on a number of issues. And if we were to adopt the practice of having summary minutes, I think it would give us the opportunity, not only for our own benefit, but for the benefit of the members of the council, to have a vehicle, a formal vehicle to communicate more effectively. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to criticize the question as to how long it takes to prepare minutes. And I do know that the Library Commission did make a point of offering help to staff. I find the need for communication far exceeds the benefits of basically producing minutes to say nothing. That's an observation, and I certainly would be in favor of making the change.
Al, have you had any discussions with any of the city council members or maybe the mayor, who may or may not be listening, about whether or not summary minutes would accomplish the goal that you're seeking to accomplish with this agenda item?
Not formally. As you know, we attempted writing our own report to replace minutes at an earlier time, and that seemed to be ineffective, either because, well, seemed to be ineffective. The council has suggested at times that we should come and make a verbal presentation to the council of issues that have come before the commission. And at times, various members of this commission have done that.
Okay, I will just say that Al, as you are very well aware, I also had some frustration with the inability to transmit our recommendations and the reasons for them to the city council. So at the risk of increasing the workload on the city staff, I am for moving to a summary minutes as well.
Okay. Any other comments? For myself, I do think summary minutes is a good idea. Just for if we want to go back in time, anyone can see it on the website and see what was decided, what was discussed. So I think that's a good format.
Okay, do we need a formal, since staff's recommendation was to not do it, do we need to revise the recommendation to do it and vote on it?
At the end of the memo, there is a recommended motion.
Mhm.
I think it's phrased in a way that we could do it. So I'll just give it a shot. I move to adopt the summary format for Public Safety Commission meeting minutes upon confirmation from the City Council, and direct staff to seek from the City Council an exemption for the format of minutes for the Public Safety Commission.
You have this one.
I will second that motion.
Well, don't we want to hear from staff? Because right now we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in the middle of a fire season. I'm more concerned with having our people dealing with public safety than writing additional verbiage to give to our city council, and these other ways will do it just as well. We have limited resources. I think the rest of the public would probably want our firefighters out doing firefighter jobs, our record keepers doing the Public Records Act requests and everything that's required. As we heard from the chief, we're down a dispatcher. I'm sure Jennifer has a million different things to do than to spend hours upon hours writing things from the Public Safety Commission, which may or may not be of utmost importance compared to public safety. So that's my concern, is I'm not in favor of government creating more burden for its staff when they're already overburdened with what they have to deal with right now. You know, I represent several public entities and they're all going through these problems right now. And many of them are saying they just can't take on any more tasks without impacting their efficiency. And then we run into an argument that our local government's not efficient. Well, we keep burdening them with more things to do and take them away from their main tasks. So that's my concern.
Well, I can appreciate that, Gene. Well, does staff have any comments on if this is going to be a excessive workload or something that's not achievable?
I can't speak for Chief Incontro, but I can speak for Jennifer and I. Because everybody else in the fire department is on a shift schedule. So Jennifer and I are the only ones that come into work each day. So the administrative burden is borne by she and I, and it involves everything from payroll, personnel, to budget, to personnel practices, to operational directives. There is a lot that goes on, and not that this wouldn't be impossible. It's something else would potentially drop off. Even these commission meetings require that I give an equal amount of time off for Jennifer, which means she won't be in this Friday. So it does become an issue of prioritizing work. And if this is the desire of the commission, it certainly would take priority, but it does present, at least for the fire department, an administrative burden, because everybody else is on shift work and their primary responsibility is response. And so to try to task any of them with some of these, or try to delegate some of these other tasks to them would be difficult. That's just from fire department standpoint.
From the police department standpoint, I made the recommendation that we remain with the action minutes, and in particular because the entire minutes are available online. As it's Jennifer, as Chief Rueda explained, her responsibilities. Vanessa has many of the similar ones, if not a little bit more. She's also been preparing these more detailed, well, so has Jennifer, but more detailed information and graphics involving crime analysis. I'm very fortunate that Vanessa's experience in the past at Long Beach Police Department involved crime analysis, and she's been very helpful as my administrative assistant. But if it's the choice of the commission, we'll make it happen. And that's kind of the way we have always done things. I am not sure if there are a possibility of being very specific in one or two areas that the commission may bring up during a meeting that they would like more detailed information in the meetings specific to a certain topic. That could be something that I could research with the city clerk and the city attorney for the modification, and ask some sort of modification from that. The other issue is I don't want to burden the commission itself for doing staff work. We should be responsible for it. We need to be held accountable for what we're doing. And that's why I believe that this is our responsibility, unlike what maybe the Library Commission had agreed with library staff.
Jeff, would you consider a modification of your motion to incorporate a continuance of the current minute process with the proviso that that the commission would have the opportunity to have the minutes expanded with regard to any particular subject that might be discussed, where the feeling is that more detailed information needs to be provided?
Yes, Al, I'm happy to table the motion for now. I believe Chief Incontro just said that he would need to do some research to figure out whether that is actually an acceptable form of the minutes. Is
Yes.
that what I heard, Chief and Contra?
Yes, sir.
So why don't we table the motion and
I
have
agree.
Contra do some research and report back to us? Because I agree that, for instance, we don't need summary minutes of department reports because we have the department reports themselves. So if there's some either section by section policy we can put in place or by request policy we can put in place, that may balance the differing factors that we're talking about here with respect to changing the minutes.
We clearly need to find a better way of communicating with the council. And they need to have, evidently they need to have background and some kind of indication of level of support rather than simply a 4 or 5 word statement of a conversation or discussion. So I would certainly support the tabling until next month.
There's not a whole lot of summary to do this month anyway, so we're not losing anything.
Correct.
Care of that for the commission.
Okay, that sounds like a good route to take. We'll table this for the next meeting. In the meantime, Chief and Contra will research what other options are available, and perhaps at the next meeting we can have some kind of hybrid motion, something that will suit our commission as far as a minute format. Everyone concur?
I'll agree with that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, let's see, moving on. Just go back to the agenda. We're on to item number 7, purchase of rescue ambulance to replace reserve ambulance 791. Chief, do you have a report? Rita?
Let me figure out how to unmute. So what you have before you is an informational report on the department's request to purchase a new ambulance. And as I talked about a little bit in terms of the fire engine, we are actually replacing the reserve ambulance 791, which is 12 years old and has a significant oil leak, and we're getting a number of new enhancements with the new ambulance, including better lighting, camera system that allows us to see 360 degrees around the apparatus, built-in suctioning device, a few other enhancements, but primarily what we're getting for our money here is dependability, so that every time the firefighters go to start that ambulance and get out the door, it actually starts, it stops when we need to, and allows us to get our residents to the hospital when they need it. Rescue 791 has served us well for 12 years, but it is time for a replacement. It was initially inspected by me back in 2018, where we found a number of issues, started looking at it closely. It went through a study by Public Works, which the consultant concurred with the fire department's recommendation that it be replaced. And that leaves us to our replacement today. In an ideal world, this would have come to the commission first, then the council, but the timing was such that the council meeting came first, and that's why I'm here today. Just a couple other facts about our response here in the city. About 75% of our emergency medical services calls are for advanced life support. That means somebody on the other end of the line is calling about a critical medical emergency. So us getting there and doing really what has become our primary mission of providing emergency medical services is really critically important. And sometimes transporting them to the hospital in an urgent manner really can be life-saving. That does conclude my report. If you have any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chief Ferreira. Any questions for the chief on this purchase? I think it's definitely needed, and I'm glad we're doing that. Thanks for bringing us up to date on that. Seeing no questions, brings us to the end of our meeting. Our next meeting scheduled for October 5th, which is about 3 weeks away. 1, 2.
Hunter, do we need to move to accept this report?
Oh, yes.
File it?
Thank you, Gene. Yes, we do. Can I get a motion to accept the chief's report on the reserve ambulance?
I'll move that the Public Safety Commission receive and file the report as explained by Chief Rueda regarding Rescue Ambulance 791.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff. Gene. Okay. All right. Back to our next meeting date, October 5th, which will be in 3 weeks. And then we'll be back to schedule on the first Monday of the month. Everybody okay with that date?
Great.
Good.
Good? Okay.
Yes.
All right. With that, we'll see you on the 5th and hereby adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, Chief, on your house.
Yeah, be safe.
Be safe out there. Thank you all.